Did you know that Kentucky is not a state? It's not. It's a commonwealth. It's one of 4 states in the United States that considers itself a commonwealth. And our commonwealth, the 37th largest in the United States, has 40,409 square miles. From north to south, we're only about 140 miles north-south, but we're very wide, almost 380 miles going east to west. The Kentucky Derby Museum, as part of our mission, we travel all around our commonwealth. We've been to the Bluegrass region, the Cumberland Plateau, the Western Coal Fields, the Pennyroyal, all the way down to the Jackson Purchase. And we've taken the Derby Museum all around our commonwealth so students can learn about one of the things that makes our state, our commonwealth, special. I'm Ronnie Drystad. I'm the Manager of Education Services at the Kentucky Derby Museum. I'm basically in charge of all of the education initiatives here at the museum, whether that's groups coming in on field trips or us going to their school for an outreach program or webcasting, Derby Academy, filming once a month, the Derby Academy episode. So really anything related to education is where my footprint is. The outreach program actually started because back around 2000, the museum closed for a while for a big renovation. And so we couldn't have field trips coming into the museum, so we had to go out. And at that point I was working as a tour guide at the front desk, but they needed help because of the demand. So we started going out to local schools and going into the classroom, and it was such a big hit that when the museum reopened, that the museum decided to expand the program. We got funding from the Kentucky Thoroughbred Association. They helped fund the gasoline and the hotel expense, and it just really took off from there. I remember going to McLean County. That was one of our first counties. It's in western Kentucky, and I remember going in and we pulled up in front of the school. It was a small little school in western Kentucky, and it said on the marquee, "Welcome Kentucky Derby Museum," and I knew right then this is going to be pretty cool. The schools were very excited that we were bringing the Derby to them, because so many kids that far out, they're not going to have an opportunity to come to Louisville and see the museum.
Hi, my name is Heather Hill. I am the outreach educator here at the Kentucky Derby Museum, and I am like a traveling field trip. I take our education programs around the state and go into schools and visit kids who are too far away to visit us. I personally have seen almost 150,000 kids. I started as the outreach coordinator in January of 2013. Drive the really great Kentucky Derby Museum Prius around the state. It's fantastic. Has horses running down one side, they're running at you on the other side. It's got the roses and a jockey kissing the trophy, and that car is coming up on 90,000 miles, and I have put almost all of those on there with outreach. My favorite part about outreach are the relationships that you build with the schools and the students, because I only visit a school once per school year, and I have repeat schools that I go to every year that reply immediately to my marketing email and book me pretty much within the first day that I have dates available. And those kids remember me, and I remember some of those kids. And it's just really great because I'm watching them grow up, but I only see them one day a year. And some of the schools that I've been to, my 8th graders, I first saw them when they were in 2nd grade. And there was one school that I had visited last year, and the first time I went there was my very first semester, spring of 2013. And so the 6th graders that I saw remembered me from like 1st and 2nd grade. So
I think one of the things personally that's so fulfilling about going on an outreach is, besides the teaching part of it, you really do get to impact a kid that day, because you see 37,000 kids in a year, and who knows what some of them are going through, and you really do have a chance when you call a student up to be your horse, and you dress them up like a horse. You put the saddle on them and the reins and everything. For 5 minutes, that kid's the star of the show. you know, and that might be the attention that that student needs, you know, to really make his day. And we know it is because they talk about it. Then, you know, next year when we come back, or even 4 and 5 years down the road, hey, I was a kid, you dressed up like a horse.
They did like the hands.
Oh, she got it. She said that we did the hands. Yeah, that was the math program where somebody was like a trainer. Remember, somebody was an exercise rider where they put the helmet on?
Oh yeah.
Remember that? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was one of them that had to dress up.
You were the one that had to dress up? Awesome.
That was really impactful for me because you don't see, you know you're making a difference, but you don't stick around to see it. And when you come back, sometimes over a year or 2 years later, and they can cite specific instances from the program, I'm with them 30 and 45 minutes, 1 day a year, and they remember almost everything I say. And so it's a lot of fun for them. It's very educational too, and that's what makes the programming so great. That's what means the most to me is they remember me and I remember them, and they really love learning about this.
Yeah, we're with Teresa Branham, and you are the Family Resource Coordinator at Martha Jane Potter Elementary. We're in Letcher County, which is way down in the mountains, almost on the Virginia border here in Kentucky.
Exactly.
And we're having a great time. We've done 3 programs so far, and we've got 2 more to go. But we wanted to take a few minutes and just ask you, you know, why did you have the Derby Museum visit your school today? And I know we've been here several times, but if you could just talk a little bit about that.
Okay. We have had the Kentucky Derby Museum visit our school several times now. We try to pick different programs. Our kids love it. Our teachers love it. So we just want you guys to keep coming back. This year we've got a new science program we've never had before, and it seems to be going really well with our kids. And our kids remember things from the past, so we enjoy you guys coming.
So our education programs are fantastic. I take 12 on the road with me, and they're all hands-on interactive. We have programs that range from preschool all the way up through 12th grade. And we use the Derby as a hook to get the kids interested. And then we go in and we teach real math, real science, real economics, all tied back into this race. And it's amazing how we're able to do that and incorporate the Derby into all these different areas. For example, our program Science on the Track is very popular with 4th grade because K-Prep, the Kentucky State Standards annual testing, they discuss the weathering process, and kids are tested over that, how a rock weathers down to sediment over time. Well, Churchill Downs racetrack is 75% sand, 23% silt, and 2% clay. And those are the 3 types of sediment you end up with at the end of the weathering process. So we're able to tie that into the racetrack. Teachers love it. I have a lot of teachers that really want March and April outreach visits because our programs are so educationally strong that they'll use us for state standards testing for the preparation for that.
Yeah, our outreach program, you know, last year we were able to finish up our 120th Kentucky County. So where do you go from there, right? What kind of goals do you set?
This year, we're trying something new, so I'm very excited about. I'm doing statewide outreach in the fall semester, and spring semester will be all local outreach in the surrounding counties and southern Indiana. So it's nice to be able to go and talk to students in our own backyard, because for the 5 previous years, outreach, I would drive at least 50 miles one way outside of the city for my school visits. So it's going to be really interesting to talk to kids who grow up with Derby on the brain all the time. It's what our city's known for here in Louisville. It's 365 days of Derby, just like it is at the museum.
Yeah, one of the ways we want to outreach and reach more kids, especially nationally, is through Derby Academy, which is our YouTube show that we run once a month. And you know, it's a way that we can really hit curriculum in a creative way, and it's not limited to people that are just here or where we can travel. But you know, do a 9-11 minute episode about a subject that they're learning about in school, and then provide them follow-up activities, and it's just a way to really reach out to other places that that wouldn't have access to our outreach program. Well, thanks for joining us on this month's episode of Derby Academy. We've been all over the state. We've been to the largest elementary school in Kentucky, which is Taylor County Elementary, with about 1,200 kids. Those were some big groups. The smallest school I've been to had about 50 kids, 50 students, K through 8, and that was at St. Anne's in Howardstown, Kentucky. If you like our outreach program, hit like and leave us a comment. And if there's any suggestions you may have for taking the museum on the road, let us know. We'd love to hear your feedback. This is Ronnie Drystad of the Kentucky Derby Museum. We'll see you next time on Derby Academy.